So I have to be a bit transparent here. I don't really know what it means to be gentle like how Jesus is gentle. It doesn't make sense to me because Jesus is God and he's fully human. He's both of those things. So, how can something that is infinitely powerful also be infinitely gentle, approachable, understanding? All of those things. How does that even make sense? In Revelation 19, verses 11 through 16, it depicts this is the end times, the end of history. Um, the armies of Satan are coming against God and defying him in one last battle. And Jesus comes out, and you can read it for yourself. He is on a white horse, his eyes are fire. He's got this sword coming out of his mouth. He's got this name on his thigh, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. He also even has a name on him that nobody knows but himself. And his robe is dipped in blood. I mean, so many crazy things. And that we turn around and in the Bible, in Matthew 11, verse 29, Jesus says, I am gentle and lowly in heart. How does that make sense? But yet, when I actually look back on my relationship with Jesus, both of these things do make sense because there are times when I am being a full blown knucklehead where I cannot get something through my thick skull. And yet, when God speaks to me, He doesn't condemn me and He doesn't send me, for a loop where I feel this unsurmountable grief about my sin. Instead, God just, when He speaks to me, it's equally painful and soothing. It's like a deep cut that is instantly healed. So I'll tell you about this time that God spoke to me in this way. Um, I had just started following the Lord. Again, I had known Him my whole life, but I was kind of reinitiating that relationship and trying to really get to the heart of God again and just develop really some discipline. And so I remember God telling me to wake up at 5 a.m. and read the Word, read the Bible before I went to work. And if you've been waking up at 5 a.m. for a long time, it's not hard, right? But this was the first time I'd really been doing it. And so I woke up at 5 a.m. I'm exhausted. I can barely keep my eyes open. I know I shouldn't be drinking coffee, so I'm just, plugging along. And I'm reading through the book of Hebrews. I decided I would just read it all the way through. And I got to chapter 12, verse 11. All discipline for the moment seems not to be joyful, but sorrowful. Yet to those who have been trained by it, afterwards it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness. And I just remember being in my parents' house at the time, reading that and almost laughing out loud because it was like the most gentle way for God to tell me, hey, like this discipline thing, you don't really like it, but it's necessary. I feel like after that moment, I realized kind of what it meant for God to be gentle. Because if I was if I was had any authority over somebody's life and I was trying to tell them to be more disciplined, I probably would have been a little bit more forceful about it. But gentleness is the expression of power. It's the way that you convey your strength. And Jesus did that all the time. And it doesn't make sense to us because we think that gentleness is weakness. Because you're saying, I have all of this strength, yet I'm going to hold that so tightly and give you, the other person, an opportunity to respond. Um, and I think that's really what it means for God to be gentle. Um, God gives us freedom. And in our own lives, us being gentle to other people is not letting them walk all over us. It's not letting people get away with stuff. It's not saying anything. We can still call people out. We can still be straightforward. We don't have to make ourselves weak. We don't have to appear weak. We just have to constrain the power that we have to serve others. And that's kind of what I've taken away from gentleness this week as we continue talking about the fruits of the Spirit and as we're wrapping up this series. I hope that you guys are seeing that the transformative nature of the fruits of the Spirit is really to form you more into the image of Christ. Well, guys, please let us know here at H&J if we can do anything for you. If you got questions, whether it's about gentleness or Jesus in general, we'd love to talk. And let us know how we can best serve you. And we'll see you guys around.